So if I think I had 3 examples from the other day. So I'll call this example 4. If I asked us to do this, and this was a multiplication kind of deal, let's say I had 2 over x squared minus 12x plus 27, and then times x squared minus 12x plus 27 over 3. I think most of you can see without factoring what's going to cancel. Aren't these identical? And if I had just asked you to simplify, you could go ahead and do that and be left with 2 over 3. But I did ask you to state the excluded values. So really the only reason I'm going to factor these right now is so I can find what's excluded. Okay. So on the bottom, what multiplies to be 27 adds up to be negative 12. Negative 9, negative 3. So I'm going to rewrite the first fraction as 2 times x minus 3 times x minus 9. And on the second fraction, since this is the same thing, I'm going to have x minus 3 times x minus 9 over 3. All right, so what are the excluded values then? Can somebody give me one of them? Three. And the other? 9. All right. The simplified version, we would cancel all of the factors that we could out. So we'd cancel the x minus 3, the x minus 9. The simplified is just going to be two over 3. Okay, so these two things are the same. Once we get to the simplified or our fractions, if I'm just multiplying things together, I don't have to do anything different. But the second example I'm going to give you, what if we are dividing fractions? We have kind of a little saying that we say. Anyone remember what it is? Yes. Okay. So we need to make sure we do our multiplying by the reciprocal first, and then we're going to use our same process. Okay. So we're going to do one example with division. So same, I'm not going to write the instructions again. We're going to have the same instructions, simplify and state the excluded values. But this time we have 1 over n plus 9. And instead of multiplication, we have divided by 6 minus n over 3n minus 18. Okay, so because of this division, this is the first time I saw this on this lesson. Because of this division symbol, we are going to rewrite it. So if you forgot that, keep, change, flip. Or the formal way of saying that is when you multiply by the reciprocal, okay? So we keep this as 1 over n plus 9. We change our division to multiplication. And then we multiply by the reciprocal. So that would be 3n minus 18 over 6 minus n. Okay. So before we do any work on this, can you guys tell me what's excluded? So I'm going to end up putting these together and trying to factor some things out in a sec. But what would n be that would make n plus 9 0? -9, yep. And what would make this factor 0 if n were what? It's positive 6, because it's subtraction already. Yeah, so 6 minus 6 would, so excluded is that. Okay, so let's put some things together. So on the top, I'm going to multiply straight across, and I have 3n minus 18. Could you simplify 3n minus 18? Is there a GCF? Is there a GCF of 3n and 18? Yeah, isn't it 3? Okay, so I'm going to take out a 3. Divide both things by 3. This is n minus 6. On the bottom, I have n plus 9. And on this one, I am going to flip it around and make it negative n plus 6. Okay? However, I want to make that n be positive. So I am going to take out a factor of -1. You're going to see why in a second. Because if I divide both things by -1, I have -6 and plus n, which is the same thing as n minus 6. Why did I do that? Why did I take out of a -1? We could take a -1 out of anything, but why would I do that? Because if this was just 6 minus n, I could not cancel that with n minus 6. But now that I took that -1 out, these are, and so I could simplify this. So we're going to go ahead and cancel these. The simplified version is 3. The n minus 6 is gone, and then I'll have -1. You could put that negative on the bottom if you want. You could also put it on the outside if you want. When we have negatives in fractions, you can put it on the bottom, the front, or on the top if you wanted. But just don't try to make it in more than one spot. Okay, so that would be the simplified. Okay, so that's all there is to that. Do you have questions so far? So let's do a little practice.